Now the topic of discussion today is mutual inductance. Okay. Now first of all, we try to understand the phenomena of mutual inductance. Okay. What happens in this phenomena? Say for example you have a coil. Now this is having some electric current in it and you can change the current with the help of rheostat. Okay, so current I is flowing through this coil, say coil 1. Now you have another coil, say coil 2 is there and a galvanometer is there. Okay, now what will happen? Whenever the current is passed through this first coil, say this current is I1, then the magnetic field lines will associate with this, and these magnetic field lines will be extended, and they will also, some of the field lines will pass through this second coil. Okay, so the total flux which is associated with second coil, say phi 2. Okay, if there are n2 number of turns are there with this second coil, then if you consider that phi 2 is the flux associated with one turn, then if there are n2 number of turns, then we can consider n2 phi 2 the total flux. Try to understand. Phi 2 we consider as flux associated with one turn. Then if you have this second coil which is having n2 number of turns, then total flux will be n2 phi 2, which is directly proportional to the electric current in the first coil. If you increase this current through the first coil with the help of rheostat, if this current is increased, then this flux also increases. And if you remove this proportionality, then constant which you are placing here, that constant is named as mutual inductance of system of two coils. Okay, so this N2 phi 2 is equal to, say, mutual inductance of 2 with respect to 1 I1. Okay, so if you make M21 as a subject of formula, then it will become flux, that is total flux in second coil divided by the current in the first coil. So we can say the total flux in the second coil per unit current in the first coil is called the mutual inductance of system of two coils. Okay, so this is a basic understanding. Okay, on the basis of this, now further discussion is carried out. Okay, so here we have taken solenoid. Now instead of coils, now we are taking a solenoid, and there are two solenoids. Try to understand. One smaller solenoid S1 is kept inside the second solenoid which is having larger radius. So this outer solenoid is S2, and this inner solenoid which you can see, okay, this is the solenoid number 1, that is S1. Okay, now their radii are R2 and R1. The outer solenoid is having bigger radius, which is, say, R2. Okay, the outer solenoid is having the radius R2. Okay, and the inner solenoid is having the radius R1. You can see this is the radius of inner solenoid, and the outer solenoid is having the radius R2. Okay, so these are the things which are very much what you call it, easy to understand from the figure. Their lengths are same, the length are L. Now we denote the radii of S1, that is inside, is R1, and the number of turns per unit length of this solenoid which is kept inside is N1. Similarly, the outer solenoid is having the radius R2, number of turns per unit length is N2 for the outer solenoid, bigger solenoid, and the total number of turns, you can say, they are N1 in the inner solenoid, N2 in the outer solenoid, okay, respectively. Now we move further. When a current I2 is passed through S2, that produces magnetic flux in S1. say I2 current is passed. You are passing the current I2 from this outer solenoid, okay, and that I2 current is going to produce the field lines inside the bigger solenoid and the field lines associated with the smaller solenoid that can be calculated now easily, okay. So we have the current I2 which is there in the bigger solenoid, and the flux which is passing phi 1 is the flux which is corresponding to the one turn. Try to understand. So there are n1 number of turns, so total flux will be n1 phi 1, which is directly proportional to current in second, that is I2, okay. Now as I said, n1 phi 1 is equal to m1 to I2, where m12 is a constant of proportionality which is called the mutual inductance of solenoid S1 with respect to solenoid S2. It is also known as coefficient of mutual inductance. For these simple coaxial solenoid, it is possible to calculate this m12. Now m12 is calculated, okay. Try to understand the magnetic field produced by the current I2 in the second solenoid is magnetic field of solenoid. You must understand, or you must keep in mind always, magnetic field of solenoid is given by mu 0 Ni. It is now second solenoid, so it is mu 0 N2 I2. Okay, what is N2? N2 is number of turns per unit length, that is total number of turns is N2 upon length L. So we can write this, okay, N2 as N2 by L, or total number of turns N2 can be written as N2 into L. How many turns are there? Then we can say it is N2 into L. Okay, this can be understood easily. Now we move further. The resultant flux linked with the coil S1. Flux phi is equal to number of turns into B into A. So that is our basic understanding. So in the first coil we want to find the number, what you call it, flux, magnetic flux, okay. So N1 phi 1. So N1 into B2, that is magnetic field produced by the second solenoid into area of first solenoid, because we want to find out the flux associated with the first solenoid. So N1, as I explained, it is N1 into L, okay, because number of turns per unit length is given by N1 upon L, okay. So N1 will be, capital N1 will be small n1 into L. So it is first written as N1 into L. Then magnetic field produced by second solenoid throughout, okay, it is mu 0 N2 I2, and area of first solenoid, that is pi R1 square, okay. Now N1 phi 1 can be written as, just they have arranged properly. So mu 0 N1 N2 pi R1 square L into I2, okay. Now from this first equation which we had, okay, N1 phi 1 is equal to M1 to I2. What was our first equation? It was this, N1 phi 1 is equal to M1 to I2. So both the equations can be compared now, okay. So M1 to I2, okay, it is very easy to understand now. M1 to I2, which is the right hand side of our first equation, which is giving you N1 phi 1 only. This is also giving you N1 phi 1. So both can be compared. This I2 can be cancelled out. So M12 is equal to mu 0 N1 N2 pi R1 square into L it will become, okay. So this is the mutual inductance, or rather inductance of first with respect to second, okay. This is our first equation, or we can say this is our result number A. Here solenoids are taken very long. Very long solenoid means length is very much larger than the radii or radius of the solenoid, okay. Now we shall calculate the value of M21. Again same figure, okay. Reverse case we are considering. We will pass the current through the smaller solenoid, that is inner solenoid. Current through the inner solenoid now we are going to pass, okay. Try to understand this. when you are passing the current through inner solenoid, what happens? The current is passing through this solenoid, okay, smaller solenoid. So magnetic flux will be within this particular region, not the outer region, because the solenoid is having the characteristic that the magnetic field outside the solenoid is zero. So within this small region there will be a magnetic field. So flux, if you want to find, then you have to find the flux associated with the larger solenoid, then it is the flux associated with the smaller solenoid only. Try to understand, it is the same. Whatever is the flux associated with the smaller solenoid is the flux associated with the larger solenoid, because outside here there is no flux, it is here only inside the solenoid. This is the region where the flux is found, okay, that part we have to keep in mind. Now current I1 is passed through the solenoid S1 and the flux linked with the coil S2, that is N2 phi 2, is proportional to I1. First of all, it is our general understanding that flux associated with the second is directly proportional to the current which is passing through the first. Now proportionality constant is kept, okay, so this is very easy. M21 is mutual inductance of solenoid 2 with respect to 1, okay. Now we shall find the flux due to current I1 in S1 is confined only inside S1, since the solenoids are very long. Thus flux linked with solenoid S2 is nothing but, it is the value, it is N2 phi 2. What is the flux? It is N2 phi 2, but it is nothing but N2 into magnetic field of first into area of first. Now try to understand, this area we have to take that of first only, not of the second, because that flux is confined within the smaller solenoid. So that is why here we don't write A2, it is written as A1 only. Otherwise the things are very easy, okay. N2, as you know, what is N2? As you know that N2, small n2 is number of turns per unit length, that is capital N2 upon L. So capital N2 will be N2 into L, okay, this will be the value. So just we have written this, mu 0 N1 I1 is the magnetic field of first, pi R1 square area, very easy to understand, okay. Now we can compare these equations number 3 and 4. 4 is here, 4 we have just derived, okay. 3 is nothing but N2 phi 2 is equal to M21 I1, that we have written earlier, okay. Let it come, where it has gone, yeah, N2 phi 2 is equal to M21 I1. So this is our third equation. So this third equation is compared with that fourth equation, okay. So we can cancel the value of I1 easily, okay, that I1 can be cancelled out. If both are compared, this I1 goes off, and M21 is mu 0 N1 N2 L, okay, mu 0 N1 N2 L pi R1 square, all these values are written. So it is M21 is equal to, it is equal to mu 0 N1 N2 pi R1 square L, which is our second equation or B equation. And from these two equation A and B, both the values are same. So M12 is equal to M21, which is generally written as capital M, okay. So just take care that this is M21 is equal to, here there must be is equal to mu 0 N1 N2 pi R1 square into L, okay. Both the values of M12 and M21 are found to be same. We explained the above example with air as a medium, or say vacuum as a medium, because we have taken the permeability mu 0 within the solenoid, okay. Instead of it you put some another medium of relative permeability mu r, okay. As you know, mu r, this you must know, mu r is equal to mu, that is permeability of medium, upon the permeability of vacuum. So medium will have its permeability mu, is equal to mu 0 into mu r. So now instead of mu 0, what should be written? It should be written mu 0 into mu r. So it becomes this. Okay, the equation will be like this: mu 0 mu r n1 into pi r1 square L. Okay, if you have another medium in the solenoid. Now this is a note. It is also important to know that mutual inductance of pair of coil, solenoid, etc. depends on their separation, how far they are situated or how they are oriented. That is also very important. When the current I2 is passed through S2, the second solenoid, it produces magnetic flux through S1, which is given by N1 phi1 is equal to Mi2 in general. Now we don't write M12 or M21. N1 phi1 is equal to Mi2 because M12 is equal to M21, and that is M. So if current changes with time, now if you change the current according to Faraday's law, what will happen? Flux changes, and flux change will produce the electromotive force. So just you are taking the differentiation of this equation. Why? Because now you are changing the electric current with the help of some rheostat or some other device externally connected. So what will happen? dN1 phi1 by dt is equal to m di2 by dt. So just we have taken the differentiation of this. Okay. Now induced EMF. Okay, n1 phi1 differentiation of this dN1 phi1 by dt. Here N1 phi1 is the total flux associated with the first coil. So it will produce the electromotive force in the first coil or first solenoid. So that E1, as you know, is equal to minus d N1 phi1 by dt. Okay, this is total flux. That is why N1 is not taken out. N1 phi1 is total flux. Okay, so instead of this, we can write minus E1. Instead of this, we can write minus E1, and that minus sign goes on the other side. So E1 is equal to minus m di2 by dt it becomes. So next step will give you this idea. So this equation number 6 can be written as E1 is equal to minus m di2 by dt. Okay, it shows that varying current in the coil can induce electromotive force in the neighboring coil. The magnitude of the induced EMF depends upon the rate of change of current and mutual inductance of the two coils. How fast you are changing the current, on that the magnitude of induced EMF depends. It also depends on the mutual inductance of the system. Okay, mutual inductance of the coil is EMF produced in first coil. Try to understand this. I have explained earlier that the mutual inductance of the coil is EMF produced in first coil for unit rate of change of current in the second coil. This can be understood with the help of this equation also. If you just make M as a subject of formula here, then it becomes E1 divided by di2 by dt. Now what is E1? It is the electromotive force. Just minus sign is just now I have eliminated, or just now I am not considering. It is giving you the idea in presence of Lenz law. Try to understand. Lenz law is everywhere. Here E1 is the electromotive force produced in the first coil, and it is divided by di2 by dt, that is nothing but rate of change of electric current in the second coil. So we can say that electromotive force produced in first coil, even it means it is first coil, and we are changing the current in the second coil. So M is equal to E1 upon di2 by dt. What does it mean? E1 is nothing but electromotive force produced in the first coil divided by the rate of change of current in the second coil. So we can say, if you take this di2 by dt as 1 unit, this is equal to 1 unit. So M is equal to E1 it becomes. So we can define M as the electromotive force produced in the first coil for the unit rate of change of current in the second coil that is called the mutual inductance of the system of two coils. Okay, so it is written here, mutual inductance of coil or other coils can be defined as nothing but the electromotive force produced in the first coil for unit rate of change of current in the second coil for the system of two coils or a solenoid. Okay, so that is a definition. Okay, thank you very much. Write this 2-3 times in notebooks and learn it. Okay.